Quartet opens like 4 origin movies stitched together and dares you to push through. You pick a hero, clear their prologue, get kicked back to the menu, and do it again. By the time you roll into Chapter 4's opener, you're either vibing with the vibes or nodding off on the couch. And then click, the game hands you the full 8-person roster, turns on the tactical oxygen, and suddenly it's not nostalgia cosplay. It's a system with teeth. Here's the pitch in plain English. Combat looks old school, 4 in a row status effects, elemental weaknesses, but runs on 2 modern ideas. Percentage-based AP costs and mid-battle swapping from a bench of 8. Abilities drain a flat chunk of AP, which regenerates quickly, even when a character is on standby. That means you aren't hoarding MP like a dragon. You're rotating casters in, letting them catch their breath, and cycling back before the meter runs dry. It's use the cool stuff design, not save it for later anxiety. When the party finally unites, the system sings. The first boss with the full toolbox is a shout-aloud fight. You rotate to dodge KOs, can't swap a corpse, stabilize HP, and keep the ability machine humming. Status effects stick on bosses, so debuffs and damage over time actually matter. You feel clever, not punished, and if you wipe, reattempts are snappy. Old school flavor, new school friction polish. But let's talk pacing, because that's the fracture line. One camp says the opening drip feed is a feature. Time to live with each protagonist, get the lay of the land, and stack the dominoes before the big team up. The other camp calls it the illusion of choice, pick any chapter as long as you play them all, and points out how linear those origin maps are. Enemies are visible, but they're clustered in choke points, and the world map doesn't really open until the mid-teens of hours. The design gives you a shiny new swapping toy around hour 10, then snatches it for a long single-character prison break. Momentum whiplash. Narratively, Quartet pulls weight most retro tributes duck. The Empire's war over ley lines leans into slavery, genocide, and propaganda without turning into a finger wag. Humor lives in the margins, book descriptions, asides, throwaway quips, so the main thread can stay sharp. And yes, there are little philosophy winks. You'll catch Aristotelian ethics peeking out of a villain monologue while you're plotting turn order. That's catnip for lore goblins, and it helps the world feel argued, not just told. Working theory time, and treat it like a theory, not gospel. The opening's illusion may be intentional form-matching theme. An empire selling you choice while mapping your path. 4 tracks funneled into one confluence mirrors leached ley lines converging under state control. The slow burn onboarding could be the text saying, "No really, these are separate worlds with separate moral gravity," before it yokes them. Whether that lands for you depends on tolerance for delayed gratification and how allergic you are to back-to-back prologues. Music is where the sources split the hardest. Some players hear above average, rarely annoying backgrounding. Others are calling out straight-up bangers and a score that deepens as the world spreads. Jazz here, Eastern European brass there, frontier twang somewhere else. Our take, the soundtrack grows on you. It won't bulldoze you in hour 1, but once locations start stamping their own sonic passport, the cues stick. That said, track repetition in the early run can sand great songs down to wallpaper. Better rotation logic would help the first act breathe. Presentation is a deliberate SNES throwback. Chunky sprites, clean tiles, static enemy portraits that won't thrill animation snobs, but keep the screen readable. The small stuff is where it shines. Tiny facial expressions, town layouts that feel like places, battle backdrops with personality. One useful PSA: switch to the HD font. The default pixel font can squint you into a headache. A cleaner face makes the menus sing. Quality of life is a mixed bag, and the reviewers disagree, which is spicy. You can save anywhere outside combat and jump back into failed encounters quickly. But don't expect autosave to bail you out. If you forget to hit the menu for a while and eat a party wipe, that's on you. Difficulty talk is fuzzier. Some report a story-friendlier mode. Others insist settings are fixed and the balance is fun challenging. It may be version variants or just different readouts of the same curve. What's consistent is the feel. Resource management matters because encounters are infrequent and cache is tight, but AP region plus swapping keeps the floor from dropping out. Outside the mainline, Quartet tosses in light puzzles, and a surprisingly sticky card game, Oracle, think triple triad with its own tempo. Late game side quests peel back character arcs and hide a few goodies behind proper exploration. These aren't bolt-ons. They're the texture that pushes the world past pastiche and into I might come back for cleanup territory. Let's center the friction. The opening is slow. The maps are often corridor first until the midpoint. Enemy weaknesses can be unintuitive without a tracker, which means mental note-taking or trial runs. And that prison break that cuts you back to one character after the team finally gels. It's a design-own goal. On the flip side, once Quartet lets the system breathe, the AP and swap combat loop is a gem. It encourages expressive play, buffs, debuffs, deot swaps, guard to region, without the brittle punishment some throwback RPGs love to dish. Verdict: Quartet is not the second coming of 16-bit, but it's not a mere tribute act either. It's a flawed jewel, one that takes 10 hours to catch the light and then throws colors you weren't expecting. If you crave immaculate early game pacing and instant open world freedom, you'll bounce. If you're down for a methodical wind-up into a wonderfully spam-happy, status-forward combat sandbox with an ensemble that actually gels, it's absolutely worth your time. If this kind of no BS deep dive is your thing, hitch a ride with Veteran Game and hit subscribe. If you're nodding or fuming, toss a like so this take survives the algorithm. We read the comments and bring receipts. Last question to heat the debate. Does Quartet's illusion of choice opening smartly serve its convergence theme? Or is it just bad pacing wearing a clever hat? Plant your flag and let's argue like civilized JRPG sickos.